What's something completely false that your parents told you as a child? Mom and I moved in with my now dad. I was around 4 years old. Christmas rolls around. He had this light-up skeleton tree topper in lieu of an angel. He takes it out of the box. I asked why it was a skeleton. He got this horrified, shocked look on his face. Oh no, we must have forgot to poke holes in the box last year. I thought my angel suffocated and we were putting her dead body on the Christmas tree. Cried for hours. So when I was whatever age you become potty trained that we were going on vacation to somewhere outside of the US and my mom told me that diapers were illegal there and that if I didn't go to the bathroom in a toilet like grown-ups my parents would be arrested and go to jail for a long time. It worked and no one went to prison, at least as far as I know. If you eat too many M&Ms your tongue will permanently change color. I think my mom told me this to deter me from eating a lot of chocolate, but honestly I would have loved a blue tongue. That ice cream is spicy. You won't like it. They told us that teddy bears ate spiders. They told me that if I keep on eating that much yogurt, my teeth will get huge. I got so pissed when I realized it wasn't true. My grandmother didn't like me wasting bread crusts and she also thought that all little girls want curly hair, so she told me, eat the crusts of your bread, it will make your hair curl. I totally believed her, but I really wanted straight hair, so I made sure to never eat the crusts. Don't worry, if you tell the truth we won't do anything, followed by me telling the truth, then getting a slap and being grounded for the day. My dad had me convinced that if I were to ever look at my own butt, I would explode. That my earwax was shit from flies. My old man has had a beer belly for years and used to tell me and my brothers that he birthed us. Did we believe him though? Absolutely. As a kid I used to play with my belly button a lot and my mom told me that the knot in my belly button held my skin together and if I keep playing with it I'll untie the knot and fall apart. It terrified me but it worked. Not a single, but a string of lies. Bear with me. Lived with the family in Japan for a year at the end of the 80s. Time comes to go back to the home country, and the number of toys I amassed as a kid in Japan was not small. They were also very, very cool toys. Them being from Japan and all. Parents promise we will take them all with us home, all the while putting them in strange big black bags for garbage. But since air freight is so expensive, they said, we will simply put them on a ship in order to save some money. They will be home before I know it, they said, but only after we arrive. Since ships are much slower than planes, got home, and could not stop asking them, when will the toys arrive? I want to share them with my new classmates. They were very cool. After a few months of constant nagging, they sit me down and say they have to tell me something. Proceed to explain that. Unfortunately, the ship sank on the way, along with all my toys on it. I was so miserable, and retold the story to all friends. For a couple of years. Many years later, during a family dinner, I said, do you remember when all my toys from Japan sank? It was so sad and unfortunate. They explained it was a lie all along, and that, yes, those were indeed garbage bags. My dad told me that the windshield wipers would count the raindrops on the windshield and when it reached 1 million then they would wipe the rain away. If it was raining harder they went faster because it reached 1 million faster. If you're not good we are taking you to the children's home. I read Treasure Island and asked my older sister what scurvy was and she lied and said it's when pirates and sailors spend too long at sea with no women and become gay. I didn't question it because I was like 10 and apparently dumb as shit. Then we were watching a TV show about the colonies and how scurvy was rampant and killing people. I was really confused at how scurvy could kill and even more confused when my mom said oranges prevent scurvy. You put the oranges in your bum to block out the pirates from getting in there, obviously. I grew up in an area where slugs destroyed many a yard. As a child, I found them to be utterly adorable and didn't understand why everyone didn't like them. My mom told me that slugs loved salt, that it was their favorite food. She said when I fed them salt, they sometimes wiggled a happy dance because they loved it so much. I happily went around the garden with a salt shaker, killing who knows how many slugs. I was maybe 4 to 5. My mother had a few McDonald's sacks since I was obsessed with them. Every day, before my father would be back from work, She would put what she cooked into the sacks and would place it outside the door for my father to pick up. I was fooled every time. Man, how would I know McDonald's had no soup? That my mum, who worked in the chilled department of a supermarket, would have to milk the cows at the back of the shop and bottle the milk before taking it to the shop floor. There aren't even any fields at the back of the shop. If you lock your bedroom door, the room will set on fire. That migraines were caused by pressure buildup from an inability to fart. That's not 100% untrue. Gastrointestinal issues and headaches might actually be linked. Damn it, Dad. Just because you can read it from beyond the grave doesn't mean I'll believe anything you say. Asked my mother why I didn't have a willy like my brother. She told me she picked me up by it when I was a child and it fell off. I cried for about 3 hours for the penis I never had. Turning the light on in the back of the car at night is illegal. That farmers spray painted the backs of sheep for identification, so they remember their names. This is only half true. Yesterday my boyfriend enlightened me on the fact that farmers actually paint the underbellies of the male sheep, so they know which females have been mounted. Childhood equals ruined. That when the beehive hairstyle was popular, some women ended up dying because black widow spiders nested inside of them, and then they always wondered why I hated spiders for the rest of my life. I'm putting your Christmas birthday money from the family into your post office account. Dad promptly goes out down the pub. Same. Birthday and Christmas were only a month apart, so I would tend to get some money instead of presents from family and relatives around that time of year. My parents would always tell me I had to learn how to save my money, so I was never really allowed to use it. Just save it for something special. Usually my money would go missing and I couldn't find where it was. Only to find out my father, who smoked a pack a day, took it to buy cigarettes, or also would use it for drinking money. Frustrated by this, me and my brother asked our parents if we could get a bank account. So instead of leaving our money laying around, we would deposit it somewhere where it would be safe and would be able to be saved for a long period of time. After saving after a year or two, we wanted to get either a new game console or game, and adding up what we knew we had, we determined that together we had enough. We go to the bank. I had a balance of $0. My brother had a balance of -$10. Yes, negative. Appears since parents signed us up for the account, and cause we were children, they had full access to our account. When we confronted our parents about it, we got the whole, "You're the child, we're the adult" speech, or, "You take money from us every day just by raising you." The only lesson we learned was if you save your money you will never get to use it, so we pretty much stopped saving our gift money and tried to spend it ASAP. And in 20 years they'll be sitting at home alone wondering why their kids never visit. When I was about 6 years old, my dad convinced me that turtles grow fur under their shells. Fast forward to the 8th grade. I'm in my US history class and the topic of turtles comes up, and I explain to my teacher that turtles have fur. He then proceeds to turn on the projector and Google "Do turtles have fur?" in front of the whole class. They don't. Never been so embarrassed in my life. I told my dad this story a couple months ago. I'm 17 now, and he still laughs uncontrollably about it whenever I mention it. Turn off the lights in the back seat before we get pulled over. In my country there's this saying that parents sometimes tell their kids, and it has f***ed me up honestly when I was little. They say that if you're gonna act poorly or too loud, some random man will appear, come into your room and just take you with him. So my whole childhood, whenever I felt I did something bad, I was watching my back for this dude. He never appeared. Santa was created by Satan worshippers to take the focus away from Jesus. I wish I was kidding. I was scared of lightning. Then my dad told me it's just God taking pictures of me, so don't be scared. So I used to run to a window whenever there's a thunderstorm and pose for my picture. When the ice cream man is playing his jingle, he has run out of ice cream. My granddad would make himself seem great by going and getting some from the ice cream man's personal stash. Later found out the ice cream man was my granddad's weed dealer. Mayor always had a screwball on Sundays, so fun all round. When I was little, Mum would say that we were going to the zoo, but she took us to the pet shop. Were you guys strapped for cash? Seems like a halfway decent compromise to me. I noted that a picture of my mom after giving birth to me looked like her sister. They assured me it wasn't. I found out through a cousin when I was 15 that she was a surrogate and it was in fact her in the picture. That smell just means there's a skunk nearby. Lies. Was just marijuana. My mom told me that children were forbidden in a nearby shopping mall. I later found out she just wanted a few minutes alone to do some shopping without me screeching constantly and wanting her to buy me something. You won't always have a calculator handy. My mom told me many lies. We have a long bridge in the GTA. They close it when it's windy. I asked how they know when it's too windy and she told me when 3 cars get blown over they close it. I was mildly traumatized by that. I have more if anyone is interested. My dad is terrible at wrapping gifts. Every time he wrapped something to give to us kids, regardless of the time of year, it was wrapped by Rudolph and the wrapping was terrible because reindeer don't have thumbs. Hugh. That the propane delivery guy stole children and locked them in a prison. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang only reinforced this for me. My dad's all-time favorite snack are Twinkies and he used to tell me that little elves lived in the Twinkies and the 3 holes were so they could get outside air and breathe. I never ate another Twinkie in my life and my dad didn't have to worry about me stealing his favorite snack ever again. Cracking your knuckles gives you arthritis. Be a doctor. Your life will be easy once you get into the field. Naivety won this. Listen, my dad is still cracking up about it every time and I still can't believe he did me like that. When I was about 6-ish I asked him how birds could sit on power supply lines, used Google Translator for this. Hope all of you know what I mean without getting electrocuted. My beloved wanker of a dad said cause they got special feet that make them immune to it. Instead of just admitting he didn't have a clue, but I believed and never second-guessed it until it came up in physics class. The teacher asked us and I raised my hand, proud AF of knowing the answer and thank all the gods for the teacher not picking me. I was shooketh when I heard the actual truth. This man almost ruined my reputation, self-esteem and confidence. He's great, though. At my grandparents' house, we were told not to go to the other side of our basement because some Buddhist spirit was there to kill us. My family is Catholic. We love you. That blowing really hard would turn the stoplight green. They were watching the other light and had to start blowing when it was yellow. If you don't clean your plate, you'll get an ugly wife. Every grain of rice you leave in your bowl will be a pockmark on your future husband's face. Read this in the Joy Luck Club. That life would get easier once I finished school. That if you pick up a baby bird and put it back in its nest, the mother bird will abandon the nest because of the human scent. It took a basic zoology course to learn otherwise. Birds have no sense of smell or taste, which explains why they can eat carrion. I was told I was mental and needed to go to a hospital for mental people every single time I make a mistake. My dad once told me and my brother that the guy who worked at our corner store liked to kidnap kids and eat them like the witch from Hansel and Gretel, and that some people had to eat people to survive, so the government gave certain places a pass on that. So as long as he took them from the store by law he could eat them. He told us a similar story with a church about an hour drive away. Said they did human sacrifices and would just pick someone who walked in once a day and kill them, and it counted as religious freedom. I believed both of these way longer than I'd like to admit. Turns out he just thought it was funny to force us to go into those places, and apparently worked as a quick punishment. Wish I was kidding. That if I touched the button with the big orange triangle in the car next to all the other buttons, the car would explode. Plot twist. It just turns on the turn signals. You have to go to college or you'll never have a job. That someone stole one of my childhood dogs. 30 years later my mom told me she wandered onto the highway next to our house and got splattered. The moose use their horn to swim. Now I can't recall that I ever believed it, but it's something I'll never forget. If you're not dressed properly for the cold weather you might catch a cold. That. And that carrots make your eyesight better. That I'll never amount to anything and can never trust anyone but them. You'll never make it in life without a man. My dad said that to me in front of my grandma. It was really embarrassing, but when we left she hugged me and whispered, "Don't listen to that. You don't need a man to be happy." I'm still single, but I'm also better off than most of my family. Your parents don't always know what's best for you. They told us to be especially good boys at night because the man in the moon was real, and that he could see everything we did at night, even through clouds and fog, and under the bedsheets. Mom and I are going upstairs to flip our mattress. You need to stay down here because if you come upstairs the mattress could fall on you and hurt you. Don't swim on an full stomach. To be fair, this was a commonly believed myth up until a few years ago, so most parents who said this genuinely believed it was dangerous to swim soon after eating. They weren't lying, they were just misinformed. That if I was bad they would sell me to the gypsies. The reason why there was so many tore-up tires on the road was because of an animal called a shrancher that would hop onto semi-tires and eat them.